Would you like to know how much the setting up cost is for a family of 4 who are moving to Australia? Well then, keep watching.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go. Oh, we are all looking for adventure.
Hi there and welcome to today's video. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you what the kind of setting up costs are that you can expect when moving to Australia as a family of 4 and you decide to start from scratch, i.e. you just bring your suitcases. I've helped thousands of people in the past get what they want in life and would love to help you too today. So make sure that you are subscribed to this channel and that you watch another video if this one is interesting to you. Another one that you will also find really beneficial is the monthly living costs in Australia in 2023. I've also some super exciting news, and that is the fact that we have set up a recruitment company to help you come to Australia in a sponsored position. If you're interested in finding out more, head to www.chaminitv.com.au/sponsorships with a capital S and then sign up in there. And we will let you know as soon as we have occupations that will be sponsored that relates to your specific situation. But for the moment, we are very much looking for nurses, we are looking for doctors, we're looking for anybody who's got a trade, electrician, welder, riggers, refrigerator mechanic, you name it. If you are one of those people in the medical or trades or mining areas, if you're any one of those people on those lists, then we can help you and look at your CV. So get in touch straight away. Okay, let's roll into the video. The cost of setting yourself up in Australia will vary definitely a lot between which city you decide to move to, of course, and what you want to bring and what you want to leave at home, and how many people is in your family, generally speaking. We will look at in this video at some of the general expenses that you can expect to be encountering when you move to Australia, just in that initial aspect, that initial part of coming over and starting again fresh. But as I said, if you want to know what the standard living costs is, in other words, recurring costs that you will get monthly, you need to hop onto episode 137, because in that video, I give you a breakdown of standard monthly expenses that you can expect to be paying for in Australia. This video is for setting up when you've just landed in Australia, what can you expect to be paying for, and also, of course, moving here. And the first one is visa fees. Because unfortunately, you cannot come into Australia if you don't have that ticket that says you are allowed to come into this country, my friend. And to get a visa, it will cost some money. Now, you might be very lucky in that you've had an employer who said that they will pay for those costs and that you didn't have to contribute to your visa fees. That's possible. But for the majority of us, visa fees are a part and parcel of moving to another country. So if you were going to use an agent, it's probably going to cost upwards from $5,000 for the agent's fees. And then for the visas itself, it's around $5,000 upwards. And depending on what kind of visa, and if you need to do skills assessment or the English test, there's just so many variables that could be your situation or could not be. So you'll have to go and find out exactly how much that will be for you. But a round figure is about $5,000 for agent fees upwards and about $5,000 for the visa cost itself upwards. And that should give you a rough estimate of what to expect in that regard. The second big expense that you're going to be looking at will be your flights. Yes, we can't just drive to Australia from Africa. We have to get onto an aeroplane and come all the way here. And again, depending on how many people will be joining in your party of your family that's coming over, whether you're 2 people, 1 person, 4, that depends. But it's about $2,000 for a ticket at this stage between South Africa and Australia, but it might be different if you're coming from another country. And of course, if you are 4 people coming, that'll be $8,000 that you need to be budgeting for. The third big expense that you will probably have is your container of your house contents or whatever it is that you would like to bring with you to Australia. Now, this video will specifically look at the later stages at how to set up your household. If you decide not to bring anything or only some things, then we'll be looking at all the different kind of expenses that you will need to have just to have a normal house hold running. But if you would like to bring a container, then the average 4x2 house, which is not a very big house in terms of the sizes because we've tried it out. We know what a 4x2 20-foot container is. It will cost you probably around $10,000 upwards. Okay, depends on which company you use and whether you want them to pack everything for you, whether you're going to do the packing yourself and a lot of other things. But it's good for you to probably put away at least $10,000 if you want to bring a 20-foot container to Australia with your household goods in. The fourth expense that you need to consider is your accommodation for that first initial stages of landing in Australia. Now, the other video, episode 137, deals with the monthly rent, and that is once you've already settled on a long-term rental property. That's a different video. This video today, in these costs, we are talking about those initial, let's say about the first 4 to 8 weeks when you just arrive into Australia. Where will you be staying and how much will that cost you? So again, my friend, that depends on whether you're going to stay with family members, in which case maybe it's free, let's hope so, or maybe you offer to contribute to their household for the time that you stay there. Or if you decide to go and live in a hotel, to stay in a hotel for a while, that's up to you. But most families prefer to book an Airbnb, and it's totally understandable because it's so much more a homely experience when you go to an Airbnb. It's just much more the kind of, I'd say, start that you want to have when moving to another country. Because yes, you can want to feel like you're on holiday, fair enough, and it's going to have some of that element to it because it's not your house that you're living in and it's not your furniture, so it's all going to be new and it's going to be neat and clean. However, landing in an Airbnb, you will have a kitchen usually. You will often have a garden or some space outside where you can do a barbecue if you want to, a place where you can park your car that you're renting. If you have animals coming, they can often join you. You'll need to make sure that you book an Airbnb that's pet friendly as well. That's the other thing. But yeah, Airbnb is the most common route that most migrants decide to stay in for their first initial few weeks while they try and secure a long-term rental. What can you expect to pay for that? For an Airbnb, depending on which city again and how many people that's in your group, but Sydney is by far the most expensive city to go and live in. And then Melbourne is second, and then Brisbane is third, and then Adelaide and Perth is about the same next down the list. So depending on which one of those cities you go to, but probably I would say you should look at least $250 a night for your Airbnb accommodation in those early stages, because you'll need somewhere to stay while you find your feet and find long-term rentals. But about $250 for a 2-bedroom Airbnb apartment, but they can be considerably more as well. $250 would be a very reasonable price. So $250 upwards. Don't be shocked if you find Airbnbs that's $400, $500, $600 a night. It depends on how fancy you want to be and in what kind of nice house you want to live. If you want to live in an Airbnb that's on the beach, then of course you're going to be paying much more. If you want to be in an Airbnb with 5 bedrooms, that's a whole different story as well. The fifth expense that you'll be looking at is your transportation for those initial days that you are here. So it's probably reasonable to expect that you will not be having your own car in those first days. And so it also depends totally where you will be going to. So if you land here in Australia and you want to take the first few weeks as a holiday and travel around, then of course your transportation is going to cost a lot more because you're going to be renting a car, you're going to be putting in a lot of petrol or diesel because you want to be traveling around, and this is a big country, so there's lots of miles that you put on the car. And it all depends on how much you want to travel. But if you, for example, have an Airbnb that's going to be right next to the place that you will be working at, and you only need to walk down the street to go to work, for example, then of course your travel costs will be next to nothing, your transport costs. You could probably expect to travel to the CBD by train if that's something that you want to do. If you're like many households in Australia where you live sort of outside of the CBD and then you take the train, then a train trip can be around $5 one way, depends on how far you go and in which city it is. But let's say about $5 one way for a train trip. if you live about half an hour's drive or half an hour's train ride from the city. And then also the sixth expense that you will have are your general living costs that you will have for every other month. Now, keep in mind that this video is only about the setting up costs, so I won't be covering what the living costs are, but go to episode 137 where I do all the living costs in 2023 in Australia, and then that will give you an indication of how much your groceries will be that you should be thinking about, any other activities, insurance, those kinds of things that will be a regular occurrence for potentially the rest of your life while you live in Australia. You need to take those into consideration as well, because they will also be a factor on your setting up period when you try and find your feet in Australia. Then the seventh expense is your typical household costs that you might incur if you want to set up a house, let's say from scratch. Now, these items might not all be needed. Of course, it's your family will have different needs than somebody else's family. But I've tried to put together a general list of a 4x2 family, what you can expect to be paying if you wanted to finish your house from scratch and you just wanted to come with your suitcases to Australia. And now for the fun part, and that is looking at what we can add into your house for your household costs if you were going to, for your household setup costs if you were going to just bring your suitcases. So usually homes in Australia comes with a dishwasher and with window coverings and a tumble dryer. So those are expenses that you don't usually have to incur. But if you wanted to go and have a look, you can go and look at places like JB Hi-Fi or The Good Guys if you want to get some pricing ideas for those white goods, as they call them. Otherwise, I went to Kmart's website, kmart.com.au, and looked at the typical things that you might have to buy if you only come with your suitcases. So the first really important thing for those coffee lovers like me is to get the kettle. We're not with the first one. The first one is the cutlery, because you need to be eating if you don't want to just eat with your hands. So we can get it for as cheap as $11. You can get a black 30-piece cutlery set. And yeah, bargain price. You will also be wanting to buy some crockery, so plates and glasses, $40.50 for the plates. And then you'll have a 24-piece set for each one of the 4 family members to use, mugs and 6 glasses. And I think that is a bargain price. Also, if you want to buy pots, pans, and utensils, $13 for 2 bowls, pretty looking bowls there. You'll also be probably needing somewhere to place your goodies in the pantry. So $20 for that plastic storage set from Kmart. Then if you want to buy some more glass food storage sets for maybe the microwave and in the freezer, that'll be $20 for that 5-piece set. $20 for tongs, serving spoons, cooking utensils. And as you can see, they're of all good quality that you will be able to use for definitely more than one use, or more than one dinner that you cook for. There are some appliances, toaster, kettle. Can you believe it? $15 for a toaster and a kettle. It's like ridiculous cheap. You cannot believe that you can pay $7.50 for a toaster and $7.50 for a kettle. And yes, I can vouch for it because we've actually bought those. We've used those exact ones from Kmart and they were perfectly fine. $29 for pots and pans. If you want to buy that set for 4-piece, you need nothing more than that set to keep you going for quite some time. $80 for food basics. So things like foil, plastic wraps, bags, pasta flour, spices, sauces, milk, butter, cereal, bread. You can look at woolworths.com.au or coles.com.au to get some indication on the prices for those. And then if you want to buy some bins, $32 for 2 bins, one for your general waste and one for your recycling. That is what you'll be looking at, $18 each. Because in Australia, we separate our waste into the stuff that goes to landfill and then the stuff that actually can be reused. So for 4 bedrooms in your house, you will need beds to sleep on. So if mum and dad wants to sleep on a queen bed frame plus a mattress, you'll be looking at about $320 for that bed and mattress, which I think is perfectly fine. So $119 for the bed and $199 for the mattress. Yes, the mattress is usually the more expensive one of the two. You will pay about $480 for 2 single bed frames and foam mattresses. Bedding and pillows, $30 for a single set of sheets. That's a nice gray fitted sheet set in the picture there. $24 for the queen sheet set. $67 for your duvet inners for all the beds that we have in question here. $19 for the pillow inners. $22.50 for your duvet cover set, queen and 2 singles. And there they are on the picture, I think pretty in blue and white. If you want to buy some side tables because you want to put that important cup of coffee, or if you like a beer, you want to put your beer down, and for the kids, your soft drinks, and then $68 or $17 each. It's about $124 for 2 chest of drawers, 2 sets of chest of drawers. If you want to add that into the room for the kids or into your room for some underwear or some things you want to fold up. For your bathroom, if you have the 2 bathrooms in the house, 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom, you'll probably be looking at $15 to buy 6 bath towels. Incredibly cheap. You cannot believe it. $2.50 for a white towel. $15 for your bathroom products like your shampoo and things like that to just get you started. $18 for your hair dryer. $2.25 for toothbrushes times 4. $9.50 for 2 bins, 3-liter stainless steel bins. $5 a bin. I mean, really, wow. So we're about halfway, my friend. But before we continue, I want to know if all of this is making sense and if you're enjoying looking at all these beautiful household items that is on the cheapo. Can you believe it is so cheap? Write hell yes down below in the comments to let me know that you are still following along. All right, let's look at the rest of the household items. For the garage, if you are a family that likes to go out and about and do some activities with the kids, then you will probably be set back $436 for 2 adult and 2 kids bikes. So about $129 for the woman's bike for mum, and then for dad it'll be $159, and then for the 2 kiddos about $90 and $60 each. If you would like to buy them some scooters are a very common mode of transport, shall we say it. Kids like to use their scooters in Australia to go to school with, or to just go around the parks. Going in parks and going for a walk is a very common thing to do here in Australia. People love doing it. So you'll probably be looking at $58 for 2 kids scooters if you are interested in that kind of scooter. $129 for a lawnmower. That will be at bunnings.com.au. That's where you go for all your hardware kind of related things. So yes, that lawnmower will fix your lawn in 2 shakes of a lamb's-tail, as we say in Australia. Then your living room, $428 for a 3-seater couch and a 2-seater couch, so that everybody in your household will have somewhere to sit. And as you can see, I mean, those are pretty looking couches. There's nothing wrong with them. Yes, they're not massive, big, padded everywhere, but they're going to do the job fair and square. Then $29 for a rug. If you would like to have a nice beige herringbone rug like that, bargain, $29. Can't believe it. $29 for a coffee table, $19 for a side table, $6.50 for a nice decorative plant because you got to make a space look pretty. Some wool pictures. I like those ones with the palm trees. $29 for 2 wool pictures. $500 for a television. So again, JB Hi-Fi is a good place to go and have a look at for the cost of these kinds of things. So if you want to buy a 55-inch Ultra HD HDR smart TV, you can find there are always sales on in Australia. You just got to shop around and find which shop has got the sale on at the moment. But they tend to have sales on at the same time. They're very clever. And that'll be $500 for that. $29 for an entertainment unit to put that brand spanking new TV on. Dining room, $180 for 4 or small 6-seater dining table, looking like that, which is gorgeous. And you can pay $147 if you want to buy those 6 dining chairs, which will go really nicely with that table, in my opinion. $159 for a buffet or a server unit. Study, you got to do that thing, $42 for the desk, $39 for a chair, $69 for a filing cabinet or a storage unit for you to put all those admin, those every very important document that you're going to get soon, that Australian citizenship certificate. It's also something you want to keep safe in there. Or maybe you want to frame it and put it on your wall. I think that's even a better idea. Computer, if you want to buy a computer at JB Hi-Fi, you can buy the 23.8-inch all-in-one PC. I like the all-in-ones because I don't like PC boxes standing around. $898, clean, smooth looking. You can do a printer for $49, bargain, $4 for a bin for your study, put all the papers in. Outside, the kids also want to be doing something in the backyard while you are doing all that working at the computer. $199 for the trampoline. There you go, a 10-foot trampoline with an enclosure. Very, very popular in Australia to have the trampolines. And if you want a barbecue, there's a cute little one, $20. How cute is that? Portable charcoal grill barbecue. Yes, please note, it is a charcoal barbecue that I have decided to put in the picture and find the price of, not a gas one, a charcoal barbecue. And if you're a suffer, you'll understand, my South African friends, why we say this. $199 for your outdoor seating set and table where you are going to eat those yumminess that you're going to cook on the gas barbecue. And that is a total of $5,048. Can you believe it? You can set up your whole house with $5,000. Like, it's incredible. So, of course, I went for cheap prices. I looked at Kmart's website. You can go and shop anywhere else. Freedom is another very good shop to go and look for interior decorating stuff, but it's more expensive than Kmart. You can also go and look at IKEA's prices, IKEA, ikea.com.au. They have some fabulous build it yourself flat pack. So you buy the thing, but then when you take it home, it's in a flat pack. And when you get it home, you have to assemble it again. So that's an idea of any other kind of cost that you can go and look at. If you want to buy a car, probably around $38,000 for a mid-range SUV, something like that in the picture for a Toyota, which is perfectly fine for a 2x2 family. And remember, licenses, registrations, and insurance I have covered in episode 137. So go and have a look at that one for the living costs. And then, question of the day. What do you want to bring with you? Do you want to bring your container with you, or do you want to start from scratch? That's what I want to know. Do you want to come and set up this whole household that you have here? I think that would be fun. Let me know in the comments below if that's something you're interested in doing, or whether you want to bring everything you had in South Africa in a container. And there you have it. Those are all the expenses that you can consider having to fork out when you move to Australia, just with 2 suitcases and you want to set up a house for a typical family of 2 adults and 2 children. So the question of the day for me to you is, do you want to bring a container full of your household goods with you to Australia, or do you just want to bring your suitcases? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're still here, give it a like, please. And then remember to also go and watch the cost of living video, because if this one was of interest, then surely you need to also know what the cost of living expenses are, episode 137. And if you want to perhaps land a sponsored job to come to Australia, head on to www.shaminytv.com.au/sponsorships with a capital S, and we will let you know as soon as we have a sponsorship position available for your occupation. Thanks, my friend. You deserve a life of fairness, freedom, and of opportunity. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, my future Australian amigos.